Greetings, everyone. I'm, of course, Director Arketer of Arketer Labs. Welcome to the Saturday guest stream. This time we have with us one Hitsuge Hime, internet artist extraordinaire.
Oh, shucks, you flatter me.
Yes. They've done some fan art of Arketer. It's not necessarily me directly, because you're really not the same person.
Totally not. Totally not.
No. Just looking very similar. It's an extraordinary coincidence. It's like he's my brother from another mother and another world. Anyhow, chat is being managed by one Gray. Thank you again for managing this, Gray.
Hello.
And this stream in particular is flying by the very seat of my pants. Anyhow, Hitsugi, your souvenir is as you see here. As with all souvenirs, you should be aware that it is entirely yours henceforth. Put on shirts, sell it, I don't care. Just, I would appreciate it. I don't think you would claim that you... Although it was made on basis of your work, so, you definitely wouldn't exist without you, so there's that.
Wow, I mean, I'm not that mean to just go like, I totally made this even though I have no idea how to sculpt whatsoever.
Indeed. Right, so... I don't know if you have a YouTube presence exactly?
This sort of somewhat. I do podcasting for Legends of the Internet, which is I should be starting to do some episodes soon in season 6. That's with Joe Daney. And
if you have the time, we could definitely use a link to that. Promotional purposes.
Definitely. I mean, I guess I didn't even think of that because it's been a while since I've done it. But we also do Riffs and Ropes, where we interview wrestlers, which we haven't done in a while. So there's that. Let me see if I can link that too. But other than that, all I really do is just hop on streams and say, hey, how's it going? Alright, let's see.
Fair enough.
Just link that.
Once we have the links, we'll be pressing upon Gray to share them with you. By the way, Gray, if you're saying anything, were...
No, I keep myself muted so I don't interrupt. Although we do, Miss Steam has donated a lemon, saying go suck on a lemon turtle molester.
Oh, thank you, Steam. Now I feel things are pretty much back to normal. Also, I understand Memes of Destruction is in the chat along with Smoking Rat. Thank you all for tuning in.
And
always. And Timberwolf. Always appreciated.
And Jinx.
And Jinx C. So glad you could all be here for this stream that went on just live after I was ill-advisedly Look, we're not getting into that. This is a drama-free stream. I usually try to keep it that way anyway. So...
Let's see.
Wallow in unrequited curiosity. So,
gotta be one started.
Hitsuge Hime, I'm familiar with you mostly as, initially, from your Twitter presence, as the Mad Metal Man secretary. I don't know, the older fans here will probably remember Mad Metal Man. I've had him on before, really want to have him on again, because he's an extraordinary character. Also, hypothetically, a demon. And looks the part. Really impressive. Mad Metal Man doesn't do things by half measures. One reason I really want on again. If he ever had the time, he'd be a shoo-in for that side quest thing. Not that I know much about that, of course. How long have you been making art and doing it for assorted peoples?
Well, I mean, I've pretty much always been interested in art. I think I've started doing art around when I was about 5 years old. But I didn't really do it seriously until I was in middle school, because people just suddenly said, "Hey, you're really good at this," and I just said, "Okay, cool, I'll start making more." So it of course looked awful at first. Anatomy is a pain in the butt to do. But I don't know what made me start actually doing more of it online. I guess it kind of just started making art for people back around 2014 with Gavin Hammond, I made like a painting for him for him and his character Kenny from the Walking Dead game. Um, and I kind of became friends with him shortly afterwards. Like not super close, but he's always gonna recognize me as a friend. Um, and so then I made some for Brian Bremer, which we're friends now because of that too. And he also voiced Nick from The Walking Dead game season 2. He was also in the movie Pumpkinhead, and he performed at the 1994 Olympics in Atlanta. So yeah, semi-famous, kind of, sort of. But yeah, I kind of just made art for people and it kind of started taking off, and I guess I just started doing more and more of it and started to really perfect my craft. Went to school for graphic design, dropped out of that because I realized I hated graphic design, but I kind of still kept some of the skills that I had obtained from it, and I'm pretty much have stuck to being just a traditional artist. I don't really do digital art.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good then. Um, you stick to digital art or traditional art? I think I might have misheard that.
Traditional art. I stick to just
Fair enough,
traditional art.
Yeah, I actually can't do traditional art. What you've made before you would not exist without the wonders of modern technology. It's all generally sculpted with virtual clay in a virtual environment in VR. It sounds much cooler than it probably is. It's a bit of a new trick, but suffice to say, I fully sympathize because whether it's in classical art or virtual clay, physiology is a pain in the ass, especially the hat. Really, it seems often talking about how the anime artists constantly showing off hands or just showing off, flexing, jerks.
It's definitely one of the harder parts of art are the hands. They are the bane of my existence.
Yeah, I can't meaningfully draw even. The reason this works, I suspect, is that, I used to do a lot of tinkering in polymer clay. Are you familiar with what those are?
Not really.
Polymer clays. Polymer clays are, clay, really, but you bake in the oven, hardens, permanent from there on out. Commonly used in jewelry.
Right. Yes, okay, polymer. Yeah, I think I've done that once,
Yes.
as a kid. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And I have the sneaking suspicion that making that my hobby has lent itself well to my present virtual art projects. Like, assorted things you are seeing on the camera here. Now, perhaps you could tell us again about your avatar and your souvenir, which was made from it as a reference image. Who is it?
Well,
Why are they dressed like Flipper? And do you happen to know why they're spitting?
okay, so one of the, like, if anybody knows me long enough, they know that one of my favorite things to watch is Hood Slam, which was introduced to me by my very good friend Hammers, who is part of Riffs and Ropes with me. And just one night, he was just kind of screen sharing, and then he just clicks on this picture of this guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's Richard Gennari. He's from my hometown." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I freaking love him." Because he's dressed up in a librarian outfit, and like this just blew my mind. I'm like, wait, he's a librarian? And when I first started Riffs and Ropes, I had no idea about wrestling. Metalland just was kind of like, hey, hop in here with us, and I'm like, I can't contribute much, but okay. So, that Hood Slam was my very first wrestling group that I really got into. And Richard Gennari was my very first wrestler that I really got into. And so one of the things about Hood Slam is that they like to do themed shows. And one of the themed shows was video games. And so here comes this guy, this Richard Gennari, this wrestling librarian, as I call him, coming out in a Dolphin costume, and they just say, "Here comes Echo the Dolphin, and he's coming to fight." I can't remember who he was fighting that night, but he's just coming to fight out here. And Richard Shinari just takes this big old swig of water and just starts spitting it out on the audience, and I just fell in love with this image and just basically drew it the same night that I witnessed it. And
I almost
so
concur immediately. It's an intensely surreal image just to imagine. Surely worth commemorating in art.
I mean, it's the cutest thing ever, just seeing this manly man coming out in this dolphin costume, claiming to be Echo the Dolphin, and just spitting water out on people. I just fell in love with that image and just kind of went with it.
You know, I have a lot of respect for that. I, of course, am a deeply dignified individual. I don't know if I could possibly walk out into a ring in a dolphin costume and make it work, but certainly I can only respect a man who, when presented with the situation, does his very best to do it and do it well.
He
All
fell
I
in love
did is
with it
just
so much.
slap on some tassels and spin. I hope he got paid comparably.
Well, the funny thing is that he fell in love with this image that I did for him, so much so that he actually turned it into a T-shirt. And you can actually buy that T-shirt on the official Hood Slam website. Let me see if I can link that.
Do you get a cut?
No, but I just did it for the exposure, really. I get
Aw,
exposed.
you got paid for exposure. Normally, when someone
Well,
exposes
he gave me-
themselves,
okay.
they get fined.
I get 2 free T-shirts out of it, so I got 2 free T-shirts. One for Sheik Khan, who owns Hood Slam,
Fair
and
enough.
one for Richard Shinari, and I also got an autograph from him. So hey.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
You know, if he wants to upgrade it, he could always. Actually, never mind. Discard the entire idea. I don't know where I was going with it anyway. No, that's fair enough. I'm not criticizing your business decisions. I wouldn't dare. My own are certainly quite questionable. I have not really made a single. Actually, that's not true. I've made a few dollars. 500. I'm moving on. So, in your arting career thus far, what are some of your favorite pieces? I mean, have you had any favorite commissions, works that you've done thus far?
I actually just started doing commissions within the past couple of months. I'd
Oh.
never done it before. I just kind of started doing it because I thought it would be fun to kind of, get a little bit more money out of it. But beforehand, I just kind of did it because I wanted to, because I just genuinely got inspired to do it.
Well, that's the truth of it, actually. If you do. Basically, if you don't love something enough to do it for free, then you'll probably never get good enough at it, warrant being paid for it.
Yeah, so that was kind of one of the reasons why I never really asked for any money for the T-shirt, because for me, I was just happy that somebody who I admired and adored wanted to use my art for something for it was his first ever merchandise too. He had never had merchandise before, but it was my art that was his first merchandise, and that made me happy enough.
Have you opened up a t-shirt store?
I thought about it actually, and I even have so the current commission set that I'm working on right now is for this wrestler called the Great Bambina. And she told me that I can do whatever I want with the art that I made for her. She'll pay me for it, but she pretty much said you can sell it as t-shirts, you could do whatever you want with it, I don't care. So I might actually take her up on that offer.
I would recommend it. A weakness my own is that I haven't opened any sort of merch store. I contacted certain people who do have their own merch stores and volunteered things to put in it, which no one to this day has ever taken me up on. But one of these days, I'll get my merch game rolling properly.
Do you think Arketer would be offended if I tried to sell his artwork that I did for him as a t-shirt?
I don't know why you're asking me. I couldn't possibly speak for Arcturus. I suspect, however, that even though they are a vile asshat who stole Pigeon from me, they probably wouldn't mind. After all, who cares what they think anyway? They're in an entirely different world. Can they even get a cut on, what was the planet called? Voth? Voth? It was Voth. I'm pretty sure it was Voth.
Speaking of side quest, Joker is in the chat.
Oh!
I
Yay!
love him! Joker! I love you!
I quote him, nerds.
You're one to talk, dude.
He says that, but he's already made it very clear to me that during the last side quest, which I have yet to review personally, it's definitely on my to-do list, even though he pointedly shared this screen cap. You know, I should probably bring that up. Why not? Yes, that's inflicted upon everyone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make everybody uncomfortable.
Let me just copy. We can come back to this. Yes. Apparently, during the last side quest, the Killing Jester, who you will be surprised to learn is actually the Killing Joker, did this at some point and tagged me in it, you know, because clearly I would need to know that they are emulating Arcturus. So, you know, I shouldn't be bothered in the slightest. After all, this isn't mocking me. No. It's fine. It's fine.
It's beautiful. 10 out of 10.
Note, this is the man who just called me and Hitsugi nerds.
I mean, he's pretty much the nerdiest one of them all. I mean, who picks a jester for a show called Side Quest? Who picks a jester? Out of all the things. Well, unless he's going for like the assassin / jester, like Cicero from Skyrim. Maybe?
Sorry, I'm in danger of getting distracted again. This is unbelievable. So, anyway, that's where we are at this point. I'm not Arcturus, so I shouldn't be offended in the slightest by this. But clearly this Arcturus must have a rather nice loft in the Killing Jester's head. I like to imagine it's well furnished, as, you know, one of those really fancy refrigerators that you can press a button and get cold water from. Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
Plush carpeting, but not in the kitchen, which is all just, it's tiled so that the stains are easier to clean up. And there's hardly any security personnel at all. Right, where were we? I suppose, anything in chat I'm missing, Gray? Gray? We may be seeing technical difficulties. Hypothetically, they are not muted, but we're still not hearing them. For the record, if those of you who have donated to Streamlabs in the past and haven't seen your notification come up, I would like to stress once again, that was because I had it mislabeled and it was inadvertently hidden. Any Streamlabs donations, Direwolf Media will pop up, I promise this time.
Can you hear me now?
Yes!
Yeah.
What the hell happened?
Sorry about that. Okay, yes. To chat.
I'm docking your pay for this, Gray!
Well, good thing you can't take away from zero. The Miss Steam has donated 1 lemon. There was a
Another
discussion
lemon.
about why robot appendages are better than flesh. Joker's asking if you like how he made the stash and the beard not touch, just like yours.
I'm sure it's just coincidence. I'm so glad you're all so entertained. Oh boy. Truly, my life has been enriched by this Arcturus going on to side quests.
Oh my god. Well, it seems like you've gotten a little bit more fans because of it. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, they're obviously, guys are obviously not the same person.
Well, look, if I have to put up with this sort of crap from people who are confusing me for Arcturus, then at least I should get some benefit from people who are confusing me for Arcturus. Coincidences abound. Might as well get the good ones too. Also, I would like to note, this is entirely irrelevant, but one of the first articles I had lined up as to be chosen by Itsugimi as we proceed does feature a Florida man, and as we all know, Killing Joker is a Florida man.
I feel like all of those articles are just about the Killing Joker.
I like to pretend. Now, obviously, the ones where they die probably aren't him. At the same time, though, as the Killing Joker will tell you himself, he's done that.
I could see it. I could see it. He seems like that.
He's
kind of
been
person
there
that
and
would be
back.
hard to kill. Yeah, I feel like he's one of those people that's really hard to kill.
So, never really know. But it probably wasn't this guy because we have a picture. Would you like to move on to articles, Tsugimi, or is there a topic you would like to discuss? Really, anything's on the table. It's an open format. Clearly, I'm no professional. I'm just, eking by here in my facility.
Only one small statement.
Okay.
Arcturus is 10 out of 10. Okay.
I think Arcturus would be very flattered to hear that. I can't take any credit for it, though I do hear that Arcturus is going to be in a calendar. Did you know that, Itsuki?
I'm gonna have to buy like several copies. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, apparently the next, assuming goes through, they're still looking for female models, as I understand it. Next, men's rights calendar has a section with the men of men's rights, which is strange. But apparently, Arcturus is going to be in there. That's normal.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh.
Apparently, Hitsugi's coming across a little quiet.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, hold on. I can fix this.
No need to add me, I know.
And you're quiet too. This is my fault. Hold on. Say things.
Ah.
Hello. Yep.
Okay, that should be fixed. Yes, thank you everyone in chat for noting this. One of the things I probably should have sorted out beforehand, but complications arose, and I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. Mistakes were made, lessons were learned, and we're all sadder, wiser people now.
Oh, but
Also,
you're
Steam has a
perfect,
question.
Arketer.
What?
Steam has a question. She's
I'm
asking.
sorry. Before we get to Steam, this isn't about the Steam. This is about Hitsuki Hime, the guest. I have to prioritize what they said. Hitsuki, what was that again?
I said, but you're perfect, Arketer.
No.
Yeah, no one buys that one, not even me. Okay, what did Steam say, I guess?
She is asking, how do you feel about whips? That's whips with a H.
Oh, God.
I don't care for them. Okay, well, that has been our Ask Me session, and it's over. Whips, not a fan. Even as a weapon, strictly speaking, I've always thought you're just kind of asking for trouble. If you take that into a fight, unless you're Indiana goddamn Jones, you are going to be fed it. Possibly from the other end. Just, Now, you could really hurt someone, even take out their eye, and if anything like me, that's just gonna really piss him off. Not my first choice for weapon. And it has absolutely no place in what I or most normal people consider foreplay. Steam. They were giving me grief on Twitter earlier saying that I didn't understand foreplay. Yes, well, maybe not by the standards of someone who thinks that tasers are a sex toy. And they had to remind me of the incident.
That just sounds painful. I kind of don't enjoy a lot of pain during that, but all right.
I'm not a big fan of pain. Strictly speaking, I like things simple. I think that if you're inflicting pain on someone, they shouldn't be approaching orgasm from it. Just makes things weird. And that's the Warhammer 40k Slanish type stuff, in my opinion. But you know, I suppose we all understand and hopefully accept that I am fairly vanilla. I'm even in shades of grey. Black and white. No fancy colors for me. Don't want to get too excited.
I think that would be a little too exciting for the audience if you were
gotta stay pure, you know. Monochrome. That's the way to go. Why, I will arbitrarily declare that monochrome would solve all of our problems. Actually, how many criminals are colorblind? Have we looked into this? There could be a study there. If anyone's looking for a thesis for the graduation, look at the crime rates of those with color blindness. I bet they're low. At least because, well, the ones who get away with it are probably low. I mean, they can't see the flashing lights of the cars all that well, so when the police arrive, they probably have a bit of an edge over them. But that's neither here nor there. Shall we get to the articles, Tsugimi? We do have, of course, the first Florida article, but I can just read off the titles for you, and you can choose. First, we have Man Throws Urine on Florida Prosecutor During Sentencing Hearing. Most of these are courtesy of Angryfremen and Jarkan Canal that took 42 years to make collapses just 24 hours after opening. That's probably a fun one. I didn't know that it's possible for canal to collapse. Oh, and this one's all due to me from the Epoch Times. Swedish researcher pushes for eating human flesh as an answer to future climate change food shortages.
Oh, Jesus.
Kids are almost dying. New Zealand measles cases reach 1,000. Thousands plan mass barbecue at home of vegan who sued neighbors for cooking meat. Couple forced to stay up until 5 a.m. to catch slugs invading home. Pressing F on that one. I mean, unless who's forcing them? Did someone break in their house and hold a gun to their head and say, "You're not sleeping until you've prevented every last slug from entering this domicile"? We know that's not true because I'm pretty sure this is in the UK. And of course, as we all know, since they outlawed guns don't exist there. Vegan and vegetarian diets fit increased stroke risk. This, of course, is a pigeon article because we all love pigeon. Itsugi, as the guest, what article would you want to make a point of seeing that we get through over the course of this stream?
The Florida Man one, because I want to read about the Killing Joke's antics.
Oh, okay. Well, again, not the Killing Joke, but would be solid.
Sure, it's not.
No, probably not. Man throws urine on Florida prosecutor during sentencing hearing. Urine goes in Broad Assistant State Attorney Andrew Newman's mouth. That's a detail I'm sure the state attorney really loves. Got into the article. Yes, thank you, reporters. It's very important the public need to know that a random person managed to get their urine in my mouth. I'm sure that's something Attorney Andrew Newman is just really thrilled with, that they felt it was very important to inform everyone that this man got his urine in their mouth. Yeah, okay. Well, anyhow, this is by the generically named AP author via clickorlando.com. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a 28-year-old man awaiting sentencing on an attempted murder charge tossed urine on a prosecutor inside a Florida courtroom, according to police. The attack happened Wednesday in Broward Broward. What is wrong with Broward County in particular? I mean, Florida seems to have a lot of problems, but a lot of the really deep head scratchers do seem to sort of be in and around Broward. Anyhow, Broward Circuit Judge Susan Alspector's courtroom. Albert Naves is now also charged with battery for his attack on Broward's Assistant State Attorney Andrew Newman. A Broward Sheriff's arrest report said urine went inside Newman's mouth and all over his clothing. The report didn't say what kind of container Narvaez used to store the urine in the courtroom. The Miami Herald reports Narvaez charged at Newman, flung the urine at him, and yelled, "He told me to do it!" And he didn't say who he was referring to. The sentencing hearing was postponed.
No, that was definitely the Killing joke who told him to do it.
I bet it was his imaginary friend R. Kelly.
So R. Kelly's imaginary? Huh.
Well,
Fair
yeah.
enough. I mean, he has been in the closet for a very long time.
As we all know, he's actually a gay fish.
Yes. And apparently Scientologist?
What, really? This is news to me. If
I thought he was.
If he's a Scientologist, then... Well, pity. I pity the man. Not perhaps all that much. But a little. Look, I'm not a fan of Scientology. I think everyone should abandon that like the sinking ship it's based on. But, yeah. Look, it's a point of some pain for me that cults generally persist to this day, and they exist in modern societies, and at least in this case, are apparently sufficiently profitable, but with, turning their adherents into hay pigs and whatnot.
I think it's semi-disturbing that there's 2 members left of the Heaven's Gate cult that still runs the website. Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Did they not drink enough of the Kool-Aid, or
No,
were they sick that day?
No, basically, somebody actually asked them, like, why are they still running the website? And they said that they were left behind to basically run the website to hopefully recruit more people, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah. I think they're probably spinning their wheels there. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think that case could get any sadder, but somehow that is just a little bit sadder still.
Yeah, considering that there's 2 people out there who still believes in the ideology of this murderous cult and still run the website, and it's kind of really sad.
Are they expecting to be picked up at any point?
I don't know. I
Well,
guess
and what's in
something
this
that-
for them? I mean, if they're true believers...
I mean, I don't even think they really answered that. I think it was just kind of like, that they were just left behind to, try to get more people into their belief system. And, God only knows. And I guess they thought that, oh, hey, we get to report on if this actually works or something. I don't know. I don't know what their goal is. It's kind of weird.
That is so very sad. I'm going to do what I usually do in these cases and just presume we've all been lied to, and they're actually 2 trolls who thought it'd be really funny to adopt those identities and keep the site going. I'm going to presume that's the case because it makes me feel better about the world.
Well, let's hope so.
You never know. Do you have any comments on this? Do you have any theories? I think maybe his invisible friend could be a Killing Jester, I suppose. When was this article?
So.
Was it before or after the first side quest Friday or Sunday? It was posted September 6th? Day before yesterday, I think? Yeah.
No, it was yesterday.
Yesterday, day
It's
before
set up
yesterday.
currently.
It was recent enough that... Okay, well, that's when the story was posted. Doesn't necessarily mean that it was when the incident actually happened. Did they say... happened Wednesday.
During the hurricane.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that does complicate things further.
I mean, the killing joke was riding Dorian, from what I understand. So, I mean, if you see a magical man just riding on top of a hurricane telling you to do things, you tend to do it. You would be compelled to do it.
Joker, did you do this? Did you? Did you abuse your side quest powers to make this man throw urine in the face of a DA?
I could see him just with the jester outfit on and just with his beautiful, beautiful screams that he has and just screaming at them.
Strictly speaking, we can't prove that the Joker as Killing Jester did not inspire this man to do it. After all, his first Friday appearance did revolve around urine.
Of course it did.
That's right.
Genuinely not surprised.
Perhaps he was expecting it to burn the DA.
Is this going to be a conspiracy theory channel now?
Only so far as it amuses me and or destroys my enemies.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
we're gonna spread this around.
We'll let this die before some outraged seeker on the internet actually latches onto it and tries to run for it. Gray, is there anything I should be aware of in chat?
A few people have come in. We've got Mad Metal Man.
Metal Man!
We were just talking about you. Were your horns burning? That was awful. I feel bad.
I just talked to him last night, actually, during the Dive of Metal concert, so...
Well, greetings, Mad Metal Man.
He says not doing much, just existing to the best of his abilities.
Aww.
You know, ultimately, that's all we can. Exist as best we can.
Surprisingly, not that many people do it.
Well, a lot of people exist. Existing alone is easy, but existing as best as one can, that's much more complicated. And you can just eat, crap, sleep, and cruise along, and that's existing. But that's
goals.
We can generally do better, I think. And we can all do
right
better.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I can see if I can go in this chat right now and say hi to him. But,
I assume they're hearing you. I mean, they probably heard you squeal initially.
No,
so
I know.
I don't think they need to hear you squeal and say hi and then type it as well. But no, you do you. You do you. Again, Mad Metal Man, glad to see you in chat, even if it's for Hitsugi and not for me. At some point, when you have the time, I really would love to have you back on, especially because when you first appeared on the show, that was before I got into my art groove, and you walked away without a single souvenir. I want to remedy that at some point.
I would love to see a little clay Metal Man figure. That would be...
I can almost do it from memory. Almost. Not with such confidence that I would actually try, but almost. There was a striking visual. Now that man knows his makeup. We assume it's makeup.
He is a pretty man, too. I mean,
if he was an actual demon, you think he'd be having an easier time of it. After all, most of the US government would be beholden to him, according to InfoWars.
Well, he is actually a pretty mortal too when he decides to be mortal.
I've never actually seen Mad Metal Man in mortal form, but I'll take your word for it.
Definitely, he's very, very pretty, very pretty indeed. But we're fairly close, but I won't go into that. But yeah, I've seen him a few times.
Well, I introduced you fairly close. I mean, counting you on Twitter, you were going by the name of Mad Metal Man's secretary. At least something in your bio, I don't know which. I got the impression there was some sort of link there. Well, let's see. We've made some good progress. We have about 20 minutes remaining. Oh, I'm sorry, you were saying.
No, I was just saying that actually that's actually a joke from Riffs and Ropes because when I first joined, I said I don't know why I'm really here, and little Jay Moxley just basically said, "Oh, you're just Metalman's secretary." So, we kind of just ran with that. Yeah.
We're learning some deep lore here on Director Arketer.
Oh, he's offering to share pictures.
Oh, lovely. The chat will surely appreciate that. You know what, Middleman? If you want to DM them to me, I can try to post them on here. We can replace Florida Man with it. And Joker, if you were responsible for this, have some mercy upon your fellow Florida men. They didn't ask to be born in that state. Subject to whatever's in the water there. Poor Albert Narvaez. But that said, I'm sincerely glad to hear that you and the Killing Joke have both survived Hurricane Dorian. Is there a frequent survivor plan in Florida? Because these things do seem to happen with moderate regularity, at least compared to the rest of the country.
Surprisingly, hurricanes tend to happen a lot more to the Carolinas than Florida. And I mean, I've been through at least 3 hurricanes while living here, so.
The only state I know to catch fire or be as fiercely subject to nature's fury, California. But, you know, that's just because God hates it and wants it to sink into the ocean, and I think we all understand why.
Okay, he doesn't want to share too much with the public. So.
Oh, okay. Well then,
he will send it to you.
I misunderstood. Yes, you can or not. I'm sure you're incredibly handsome, but you should know. Don't fall in love with me, Mad Middleman. I am sincerely flattered, but I am simply unavailable. Romantically, physically, emotionally, and just not really there. It can't happen, also straight. But that's irrelevant to the other details.
I mean, he did mention working potentially as a model once, so I will take his word for it.
You know, I understand that calendar might have been looking for more male models as well. If he wants to get in touch with modern Medusa. I guess he doesn't necessarily want that experience, but if he's inclined to go with modeling, that's one way to go about it, I suppose.
Oh, Metalman says if Arketer was a drink, he'd be drunk all day. I'm here for it. I ship it so hard. Oh my god.
If I was a drink, I'd be drunk. Oh. Look, I thought you were calling me drunk for a second there, and I thought, how did you know? But now I get it. Yes, you can't see me blushing because of the lack of saturation, but I'm beet red right now.
I mean, you're both pretty men, so, you know, girls go for that, so, hey. Anyway.
I have been reassured that I compensate for that by being horribly boring. So which of these remaining articles do you want to go over next? We have the Yarkon Canal took 40 years, collapsed in 24 hours, which is again amazing because I didn't think canals do that, really. Swedish researcher pushes eating human flesh as answer to future climate change food shortages, which is, I did want to touch on this one at some point anyway. You can just choose when. It'll happen. Because I am a bit bothered. This isn't the first time a mental giant, a so-called brainy science man philosopher type has advocated for eating human flesh. And, that's not good. It's not right. They didn't. How can they claim to be so brainy and not realize why that's a really, really bad idea? Who do they want to eat anyway? And are they really waiting for a legal green light on that? But I digress. Kids are almost dying in New Zealand. No doubt enjoying an anti-vax resurgence as well.
Yeah.
Measles near 1,000. Those Kiwis are looking rather spotty. Thousands plan mass barbecue at home. A vegan who sued neighbors for cooking meat. Couple forced to tip until 5 a.m. by apparently a very bizarre Come Invader, I would assume, but more likely they're full of crap on this point. And vegan and vegetarian diets fit increased stroke risk by Caroline Parkinson, who totally wrote the entire article in Pigeon. Nope. Definitely. They're no doubt a natural Pigeon speaker.
Please don't choose the Pigeon one. Please.
How about the, for Middleman's sake, let's do the one for cannibalism, because he does like to brag about being a cannibal.
That is true. As a demon, it's not cannibalism if you're not human. So let's be upfront right there. Strictly speaking, if you aren't human and you eat humans, you're not a cannibal. Maybe not all that ethical or moral, but not a cannibal.
Well, I mean, they are a demon, so
Yes.
you can't expect a lot of ethics from them.
We shouldn't try to dictate their culture to them. It's very colonial. You can't colonize hell. It's just unacceptable.
And Middleman says, I'm not a cannibal, people is my cattle.
So, Swedish researcher pushes human flesh as answer to human climate change food shortages.
Dang Swedes. Well, the Swedish language is absolutely sexy, but that's the only thing.
Really?
That's the only thing that they... Yes.
Really? How much Swedish have you heard? Look, I've heard Swedish before, but it just sounded like someone making rude noises for the most part.
Well...
Or, maybe it sounds better. Whenever I read it, all I can hear are rude noises, especially when they start talking about farts and hinders. Speed bumps, apparently.
I've spoken to a few Swedish people, and it does something for me, so there's that. But we're not going to get into that.
Well, you're not going to be getting any of that something here, I'm afraid.
You make it sound like that I'm just
maybe I should try reading the Swedish accent. Climate change alarmers is mistaken him a carpenter seemed to satire, but he's not. It happened in Sweden. In determined for food and future, the climate raving future, killed Gastro Summit in Stockholm, September 3rd to 4th, if Professor Hegel PowerPoint presentation asserting that we must awaken the ideal of eating human flesh in the future as a way of combating the effects of climate change. Any talking tale can you imagine eating human flesh? Behavior scientist and marketing strategist Magnus Hurlin from Hurlin decision argues for the breaking down of an ancient abuse against asking human groups and eating human flesh. Maybe that's enough. He refers to the taboos against it
so
as
sexy.
Conservative. Because if it's conservative, it's bad, And discusses people's resistance to it as a problem that could be overcome little by little, beginning with persuading people to just taste a little. He can be seen in his video presentation on State Swedish Television channel TV4 saying that since food sources will be scarce in the future, because, they're going to have predicted this right as this time, for sure. As we all know, the experts have predicted the future with unerring clarity. That's why we all died in 2012. Unless Schoenhead's theory is correct, and that's how it happened, we're all in purgatory. I think we should maybe question this. Their prophetic abilities. Just a little. For the record. And discusses people's resistance to it as it probably be overcome. Let's see. He can be seen in his video saying that since food sources will be scarce in the future, people must be introduced to eating things they have thus far considered disgusting, among them human flesh. Easier cells, he suggests, include pets and insects. We've already seen them pushing that one. Who doesn't like eating crickets? Crickets. Mind you, I'm sorry, I'm not eating bugs until society has collapsed, because then I'll have to. I don't see the point in eating the bugs before society has collapsed. And also, in that circumstance, you're not going to find me on the surface.
The funny thing is that there's other things to consider eating, yet why did we shift towards bugs? We could eat, literally rodents, we could eat other sources of meat. If you're not a fan of meat, well, then I guess you're SOL, but,
And some people
Yes,
can't eat
I
meat.
think
They
that
just
we've
simply can't.
kind of
That's fair.
gone off the deep end by saying, "Oh, hey,
Now,
right, right." No, and I'm not judging them, but like if you can't plan anything,
look, if you
gotta
don't
love
mind eating them, that's fine. But again, I'm not touching them until society has collapsed and I have no choice. As long as I have a choice,
Exactly.
not doing it. Gray, you were saying?
I was just saying, I kind of love how Hisuni makes a very good point. We could go to rodents and that kind of thing, but no, our two fallbacks on meat is either bugs or people.
Well, you could also eat your
Basically.
pets, and if you were eating rats, you would be eating pets in my estimation, because some of my dearest pets have been rats. They get so slighted in media and general public concept. Sure, the wild ones are, yes, absolutely vile, disease-carrying, vicious little bastards who will probably try to eat a bit of you in your sleep. But the domesticated rat is a gentle, intelligent creature, a fantastic pet. But I digress. In Swedish articles describing the debate, the term "Mercerkirtelkirtkerbernchen" is introduced. This means, quote-unquote, the human flesh industry, because what a great idea.
Sure.
Human flesh industry. Look, Dick Dawkins has been advocating for eating human flesh too, but at least he pretends it's at least going to be limited to flesh grown in a bioreactor. Human burgers from a cloning machine, basically. That's fine. I still don't approve because I think there's a very good reason, once again, we have a taboo on this subject. It's not just being smug gits. I think we all rest a little bit easier when we don't have to worry too much about our peers having developed a taste for our flesh. Just a thought.
Then you'd feel really uncomfortable with being in Japan because there was a man who was convicted of eating people, and now he's out because the Japanese law system is messed up, and he actually wrote a book on what best parts to eat on the human flesh, on the human body. So, thanks, Japan.
I would feel very uncomfortable around him personally and anyone who bought his book.
For sure.
I wouldn't necessarily assume they could just be a fan of the macabre, but I'm not going to be sleeping in their presence, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, considering Japan's also the same place that really doesn't censor anything that is published, one of the other things out there that has been published is the best ways to kill themselves. You're welcome, America.
Well,
or whoever.
look, that clearly wasn't written for America. Japan has a big problem with that, as I understand it. So there was demand, clearly. They were just filling the void there. I suppose it's only good capitalism, and furthermore, censoring the book wouldn't actually help with the problem of people wanting to offer themselves. So,
No, I know, but like I guess that's just kind of the point, is that like they don't really censor a heck of a lot over there. I mean, they do and they don't. Like they're weird with their moralities on what they censor, but
in most regards, they're fairly practical. I mean, they don't seem to care about the cartoons and comics. Fine, who should? I need his drawings, no matter what's going on there. Right. I don't want to see it. I don't care who does. So long as there's no actual victims, I don't really give a shit. That said, I do know that they also like to use Mosaic censorship on things to a degree that it's basically a fetish in its own right.
Basically, yeah. But
that's extraordinary.
Yeah, they a lot of people call Japanese perverts, but literally the government's like, please just make babies. I don't care what you're into, just please make babies. Here you go.
Yeah, they're probably happy when at least the recipient of the focus is someone that, if the luster got with, it would result in progeny. So there's that. Mind you, that's probably the right way to go about it, to encourage population growth rather than, I don't know, import a massive number of migrants so you can keep the labor prices low. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think that maybe they have the right way of it. In his bio at the Stockholm School of Economics, Dick states that his research focus includes consumer behavior, marketing stimuli, loyalty, emotion, juices, perceptions, psychological reflections, and socially increasingly opposed to the consumption. People can be tricked, Sutherland teases, into making the right decisions, conflating resistance to eating flesh with capitalist selfishness. The seminar's talking point asks, are we humans too selfish to live sustainably? Is cannibalism the solution to live sustainably in the future? Does Generation Z have answers to our food shortages? I assume he must mean eating them. If cannibalism's on the table, who goes into the pot first? I'm pretty sure they aren't saying themselves. I think the selfish people who want to not be eaten are, curiously, everyone but them. Can consumers be tricked into making their own decisions? I guess to submit you'll get some answers to the questions and also partake in the latest scientific findings to get to meet the leading experts. Get to meet the leading experts. Have we confirmed that this is correct? Is this spelling correct? Is M-E-E-T, not M-E-A-T? Just wondering. In his talk, Sutherland asked the audience how many would be open to the idea. Not many hands go up. Some groaning is heard. When interviewed after his talk, he reports brightly that 8% of conference participants said they would be open to trying it. When asked if he himself would try it, he replies, I fear somewhat hesitant, but to not be overly conservative, I'd have to say I'd be at least open to tasting it. Yes, that's right. You have to be willing to eat your peers if you don't want to be seen as too conservative. Conservative bad. Cannibalism good.
Also 10 out of 10 Swedish there, Arketer.
Oh, thank you. The logo for the talk,
That's
titled Food of the Future, Humans, Grasshoppers, and Human Flesh, features a splash of blood as part of the graphic design.
It's, beautiful.
Oh, thank you. What Sutherland does not mention, curiously, is the long-documented science, the biological effects of cannibalism. A tribe called the Four, I'm calling that from here on out, lived isolated in Papua New Guinea until 1930s. They believed in eating their dead rather than allowing them to be consumed by worms. Now that's selfish. Screw you, worms! We're gonna eat them first! This led to an epidemic of a disease called kuru, or the laughing death, caused by the ingestion of human meat. The disease was not caused by pathogen, but rather a twisted protein. Prions. One of the reasons you really shouldn't eat your peers. It's clearly not good for them, and it's not good for you either, even if you do make a point of avoiding the nervous tissue, spinal fluid, and brain, which are the most dangerous. You're just playing with fire there besides.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. But, yeah, MPD Psycho, actually, a fantastic manga, by the way. Read it if you like psychological thrillers. Actually made a story on cannibalism and the effects of it. Well, for one thing, psychologically, we can't really see ourselves eating our other people, but, you know, you've got people who aren't quite all there. Albert Fish is an excellent example. And,
Albert Fish is a terrifying case.
Oh, God.
Talk about legendary batshit fellow, but we don't have nearly enough time to even scratch the surface of Albert Fish, and we'd all need to shower afterwards anyway.
And, yeah. Definitely.
If you're all inclined to horrify yourself with some of the worst of humanity, you can look up the case of Albert Fish for yourselves. He sounds like a sitcom or a whimsical movie. But he is no God. Incredible Mr. Limpet.
No, I'm just thinking about people just like reading this and just the Seinfeld theme just going off. Okay, dark humor. We're not gonna do that. Okay.
I need to print more sound effects things like this, a rim shot, and maybe the theme from Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's usually a good one. Take the edge off. Anyhow, look. Officially, I know this might be edgy. But no matter how conservative it may sound, I am absolutely against cannibalism in any circumstances, except for the very rare circumstances where one finds himself, well, I don't know, starving to death on the mountaintop, unsure when rescue is coming, and you've got a bunch of deep frozen peers lying around. Then you do what you have to do to survive. I don't judge you for that. If you just sit around going, but what if food shortage in the future make it necessary?
Arketer, you got a unique opportunity here. Memes Destruction says, I have a friend whom identifies as a cannibal. If you'd like an interview, he could ask.
Oh my lord.
How does one identify as a...
I identify as a dolphin man.
Look, I could have him on as a guest, but if I am potentially liable to being called a witness stand, if I have to explain where their peers have disappeared off to, or why I didn't report them, I don't have the time for that. It just can't be done. But I appreciate the thought, memes of destruction.
Slogan feed the world, says memes of destruction.
I suppose, strictly speaking, you can be cannibal, and I've mentioned this before. Technically, on the most technical of technicalities, we've all tasted blood, haven't we? Or have there many who've never had a bloody nose? I'm pretty sure it didn't all come out this end.
I've bitten my cheek before.
Yes. So, I suppose if that's your defining criteria, then we could all identify as cannibals. It's only really a problem when you're eating someone else.
Yes.
Exactly. And hey, if this Swedish researcher really wants to dig into his own arm, feel free. This is what I would call a self-solving problem. In that context. But with that done, Gray, have you passed out Hime's links?
I have, but I can do it again if you wish.
And well,
pass them out like drugs.
Hey kids, will have some links.
I can only assume that they're that good. But if you get hooked, it's not on me. We are officially out of time, so it's time to start wrapping up. First off, thank you, Tsugahime, for being my guest. Thank you, Gray, for managing the chat. I again hope you enjoy your souvenir. This is actually a 3D model, so if there's some angle you want on it, I can do that. In the meantime, I suppose if you are just keen to get more of someone who looks very much like me, tomorrow is the next side quest Sunday show, which I understand is run by Arcturus, although I understand last Sunday they made a proper pig's ear of it. We'll see if they've learned anything from last time, and of course they turn up Monday as well. And if you're really desperate for more of someone who looks like me, there is always the Killing joke as the Killing Jester on Side Quest Friday, where apparently he will put on his best Arketer face.
Arcturus, you mean?
Well, he tagged me in it.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I mean, he just got confused because poor Arcturus can't figure out how to use Twitter.
You're right. And, well, Florida man and all.
I mean, he is an old man that just rode a hurricane over to my neck of the woods, so, I mean, hey.
Could be it. Also, please stay tuned for the Saturday Direwolf Media stream. And, of course, also a shout out to Yo Nibs and whoever else I should probably be shilling. Mr. Wicked's True Crime Broadcast. If he hasn't done Albert Fish, he really could. I'm gonna DM him that one. Well, that might be too dark even for him. Anyhow, until next time, ostensibly, progress continues. You any final words?
Don't eat your neighbors unless you're Metal Man.
Inspiring.
Please don't eat your neighbors even if you are Mad Metal Man, because even though it doesn't mean you're a cannibal, I'm not willing to gamble that your neighbors deserved it. Anyhow, until next time, simply progress continues.